Hi, I'm totally excited today to have you here with me on Real Talk. My friend, please keep in mind that Real Talk is really about your relationship with God. Not only is it about your relationship with God, but it's also about your mental health. My friend, please get ready right now to share this word with somebody. I'd like you right now to press the subscribe button right there on your screen. Please share this word. Looking forward to your comments and your suggestions and how you feel about what I'm about to deposit into your spirit. I believe that God has dropped something in my spirit for you right now. Well, my friend, I'm going to a great book. It's an old book. It's an ancient book. But this particular book is as relevant in the back then as it is right now. I'm getting ready to go to the book of Job. Yes, you got it. Job chapter 23, verse 10. And this is what Job is saying to God about his situation. And not only is he saying it to God, but he is also speaking to us right now. Job 23, verse 10. This is what Job says. But he knoweth the way that I take, and when he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold. That's right. I want to talk to you today about the trial of Job. When I look at the times in which we live, my friend, we are living in a time of trauma. I guess the question that I need to present to you is this: what is trauma? Well, it is an emotional response to a painful event that causes psychological, emotional, and spiritual damage. In other words, the trauma literally knocks you off balance. Have you ever had something that knocked you off balance? Have you ever heard news that knocked you off balance? Trauma clearly leaves us changed psychologically, since it affects our feelings, our thoughts, and our behavior. As you look at the times in which we live, my brothers and my sisters, I'm sure you are aware of this, that we are living in a time of collective trauma. What? Yes, collective trauma refers to the psychological and emotional impact experiences have on a group of people that literally shape them, that literally have an impact on that particular group. For example, slavery is collective trauma. COVID-19 is considered collective trauma because we all went through it. Trauma is something that will literally, hear me now, leave an after effect. There's the aftermath, there's the aftershock, there's the grief, there's the awfulness of what somebody has literally gone through. Looking through, that's what we're doing here. We are looking at trauma through the lens of Job. Keep in mind, my friend, that Job, like you and like me, he had to deal with so many losses in his life. He had to deal with material loss, the loss of property, the loss of money, the loss of possessions. Then he had to deal with the loss of loved ones. I'm sure most of us know what it's like to walk through that valley called the shadow of death, and you find yourself dealing with grief. Then Job had to deal with the loss of health. He was not as healthy as he used to be. Then he had to deal with the loss of identity. Keep in mind, he was a prosperous man. Everybody knew he was that way. But now his identity had literally been distorted by what he literally went through. Then he had to deal with the loss of reputation. Even some of his so-called closest friends were now wondering where was God in his life. Please understand, my friend, if you are going to understand Job's life, you need to look behind the scenes, because God is going, hear me now, to use Job as an example so that we will know how we can literally navigate, get through the trials that we are experiencing. If you are going through a trial right now, I declare over your life that this word is for you. Or maybe you are not going through a trial. But I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to be real with you, my friend. Sooner or later, you are going to need this word. Well, my friend, I'm getting ready. Are you ready? I'm getting ready to go into the Word of God, and I'm going to extract 3 principles that will literally help you to deal with trials and tribulations and the awful stuff that can come in your life and throw you off balance. Because after I have taught this word, my prayer is that God will bring your life back into balance. Well, here's the first thing I see in this word for our edification and for our building up. Number 1, the pathway and consolation that blessed him. Do you see that? The pathway and the consolation that blessed him. Listen to what Job says. He's so transparent. He's so real. He says, he knoweth the way that I take. He knows, this is what Job is saying. He knows my character. He knows me in an intimate and in a personal way. And because he knows me, he knows the way that I am going to take. He knows what I need more than I do. Oh, that sounds like God to me. Doesn't that sound like God to you? He knows more what you need than you know what you need for yourself. What are you saying? I'm saying that there is a mysterious relationship between human experience and divine omniscience. There's a divine relationship between human experience and God's divine omnipresence. In other words, God knows everything. Did you hear me? God knows everything. The omniscient God is omnipresent. The all-knowing God is present in whatever you are going through. God not only knows everything, but God knows everything that is literally ahead. God has knowledge and God has foreknowledge. Job is saying to us, He, the Lord, knows the way that I take. Do you see how personal this has become between God and Job? Listen, he says, He, I, He, me. He is saying to us that He is involved in something that's personal, and it's between Him and God. I believe I'm talking to somebody right now that what you are going through, it's personal. It's between you and God. Job remembers something about his God, and he receives consolation by remembering that God knows the way. Even if you do not know the way out of the trial, even if you don't know the way out of the circumstance, God knows the way. God has a pathway. God has a road. God has a course. Job realizes that although he doesn't know the way, God does. Wow. Are you ready for the second thing I need to deposit into your spirit? Here it is, the process and comprehension that benefited him. There's a process that he's going to go through, and he's going to come out a better person. He says, when he has what? You got it. When he has tried me. When he has tried me. This is a picture of a goldsmith. It is the picture of putting gold in a furnace of fire in order to test the metal. The goldsmith would take the metals and take the gold and put the gold in the fire. When he would put the gold in the fire, the gold would literally turn to liquid. And all of the impurities, all of the dross, all of the residue that was on the gold would literally come off the gold. What are you saying? I'm literally saying this. Your faith in God must be tested. In other words, God, He puts a believer through. He allows the circumstance to happen in your life at times so that you will have an indication and so that you will know about yourself and so that you will be able to look at your level of faith so that you can testify to everybody and say, look what the Lord has done in my life. If you are going through a trial, that means that God has already supplied you the necessary information that you need to pass. The information that you have, He has taught it to you in the past, and He wants to bring that back to your remembrance so that you will be able to come out. If God let it slip through His fingers, so to speak, then God has a plan and God has a purpose. In other words, the trial is basically to put you on the witness stand so that you can tell others what the Lord has done for you. So a trial is designed to literally test your faith. Noah's faith was tested by that great flood. Everybody's faith will be tested at one time or another. Moses' faith was tested at the Red Sea. Joshua's faith was tested when they marched around the walls of Jericho. Daniel's faith was tested in the lion's den, and Jeremiah's faith was tested while he was in the miry clay. And the three Hebrew boys, their faith was tested in the fiery furnace. Can I look at it one more time? Here we go. Number one, I said the pathway and consolation that blessed him. Number two, the process and comprehension that benefited him. And number three, the purpose and completion that bettered him. In other words, he got better in terms of what he went through. Listen to what Job says. Job says, I shall come forth as gold. I'm going in one way, but I'm coming forth as gold. The purpose of the furnace experience is to get rid of all of the impurities. God knows there are some things in our lives that ought not to be there. Job focused upon the completion of his trial, and he sees it to be a positive completion. In other words, this is not going to go on forever. How do you know that? Job says, I shall come forth. It is not when, it is not if, it is not maybe, it is not presumably so. Job says, I'm going to come forth. I'm coming out of this. It says, I shall come out of this. Job sees the purpose of the trial is to make him better and not bitter. The purpose of the trial in your life is to make you better and not bitter. I will be better than I am because I went through the trial. That's what Job is saying. Keep in mind, listen to me now, my friend, that God keeps his eye on the clock, the time, the duration of what you're going through, and God keeps his hand on the thermostat. He knows exactly how much you can bear. God's got his eye on the clock of your life. God's got his eye on the thermostat of your life. This is what Job is saying to us. Are you ready? Job stood up in the midst of his trial and he said, let Satan slander, let friends practice pious slander, let nature destroy my property. God is my judge. God is my defender. I'm going to come out of this like pure gold. That's my prayer for you today, that you will come forth like pure gold. In fact, people who have been through things really can speak out of the context of their experience. And I believe that when you come out of it, you're going to have a better testimony. Well, my friend, it's been a blessing sharing Real Talk with you. Keep in mind that Real Talk is about your mental health. It's about your spiritual walk with God. Please press that subscribe button. And I'm looking forward to sharing the Word of God with you next time. Bye for now, Dr. Bair.